The Cubs signed Zach Gallen to a 2-year contract. Oh, wait a second. My bad. They didn't. But the rumor was that they did. Let's get into that and more right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell, get in the comments section. Wow, that was so weird. I was ready to whoa, where did this come from? I got to jump on and do a live show. And then as fast as we heard that, it was over. Okay. What do you say, everybody? Mick Gillespie, Cubs Baseball channel, and it is great to see you guys today, as we always do. Look, earlier yesterday, the word was, for at least a couple minutes, from Bob Nightengale, who's, I still think, one of the best in the business, that he thought Zach Gallen had signed with the Cubs. He even reported it. And then he quickly retracted that and basically said, hey, I was wrong. Let me tell you guys about let me just explain how this business works, right? There's always a race to get the information out first. Be the guy that says, hey, this is what's going on. And part of that is sometimes sketchy, because if you hear from a source and you put it out and it's not right, then you look like Bob did today. And Bob's done nothing but great work for years and years, and obviously had a good source, but he was wrong. And that's the danger of being the first guy to the fire. Like, hey man, this is what's going on. And I saw it and I was like, oh man, okay. I don't think it's a bad thing to sign Zach Gallen. I mean, I just feel like Zach Gallen, and I hope the Cubs do sign him. I think that he's one of these dudes you put in the pitch lab that these guys have, which has been the most impressive part about the Cubs over the last 3 or 4 years, right? Like, they just get these guys, they put them in the pitch lab, and it's like they reprogram them, and they're great. And we know what Zach Gallen can do. We've seen him. If the Cubs get Zach Gallen, where are you putting them in the rotation? I'm putting them pretty close to the top. He looked great in Cubby pinstripes. I'd love that. I think he'd have a good, I really do. I believe he'd have a good to a great season. But as quickly as Bob said that Gallen was basically going to be a Cub, it was like, well, no. So apparently it was going to be Zach Gallen to the Cubs, $135 million deal. Braves are trying to get in on the mix. Other teams are trying to get in on the mix. Cubs have said they're going after starting pitching. Here's a guy who helped the Diamondbacks, and I think the year that they went to the World Series, he was the best pitcher on the team. So he's been there, done that. So we'll see. And it's not over yet. I mean, maybe somebody thought it was a done deal. Obviously, it wasn't. Somebody reached out to Bob and said, hey, this is not done. That's what happens. I'll be honest with you guys. I've had it happen to me. It happens. What you think or what you hear sometimes isn't what you think or you hear. Things change. I mean, they may have had a handshake and then come back and said, you know what? We're not, we need this and this and this. So there's no telling what the real story is, but don't be surprised if the Cubs don't eventually net Zach Gallen. And when I look at, now that Dylan Cease has signed with the Blue Jays, I look at Zach Gallen. You could argue Ranger Suarez is another one of those guys who you feel like, hey, this is a top of the rotation guy. But I feel Zach Gallen is as solid as anybody out there. Didn't have the best year a season ago, but doesn't mean that he can't potentially swing it into being a great pitcher again. We've seen he can do it. So, I still think that there's a good chance that the Cubs end up signing him. But, Jim Bowden of the Athletics saying that, hey, look, watch for Gallen to sign 5 years, 130 with the Braves. The Cubs, like I said before, it was reported by Nightengale that it was a done deal. It's not. I wonder sometimes if something like that happens, and the reason that it happens is that there's an agreement, and then all of a sudden it's like, hey, I just wanted to get out there because, it'll lead us to more cash. 2022, he had 31 starts, had a 2.45 ERA, had a 4.2 WAR. 2023, 34 starts, a 5.2 WAR, a 3.47 ERA, helped the Diamondbacks make a run. 2024 had 28 starts, a 3.65 ERA, a 2.8 WAR, and then last year is why he's not going to make as much money as he would have made. He had 33 starts, a 4.83 ERA, and a 1.1 WAR, which isn't good enough, right? But I could see where the Cubs would say on a situation like this, like, hey, we're going to take this guy, and we're going to make this happen. And basically we're going to bring him in and then, and try to program him to be the guy that we think he can be. But it was crazy because I'm looking at it and going, hey, we just got this guy. I better jump on here and do a show. And before I even got to the studio, it was already over. I was like, no, it's there. But I wonder too, if you look at say a Ranger Suarez, if, somebody like that is going, hey man, if I'm going to sign with the Cubs, I probably need to make that happen now because they're going to fall off the list. Suarez, 30 years old, entire career with the Phillies. He's averaged 26 starts and a 3.62 ERA in his time there. I mean, it's been great in the postseason, a 4-1 record and a 1.48 ERA. I mean, look, that's big stuff. And then when you start to look at the Cubs rotation, with Justin Steele and Cade Horton and Matthew Boyd and Shota Imanaga, Ranger Suarez will be there right in that mix. Colin Ray, so he's a good one too. But I mean, I'm just kind of just now a little gun shy of any kind of prediction just because of the way that things weirdly unfolded in that whole sweepstakes, right? You're still hearing a lot of rumors that the Cubs want Alex Bregman. I think that one's going to take a while to play out. Bregman obviously didn't get the deal he wanted last year, so he did a deal with the Red Sox and opted out, right? I think whoever gets him is going to want him to kind of be a little more long-term. So, but if the Cubs got him, does that mean you trade Matt Shaw, or does that mean you move him to a utility position, or do you trade Nico Horner? A lot of you guys have debated that as well. So short show today, but I just had to kind of talk about everything and laugh a little bit and just tell you, look, Bob Nightingale's one of the best in the business. He got this one wrong, or did he? We'll find out. If the guy signs somewhere else, we might all look back and be like, all right, Bob, you totally screwed that over. But if the Cubs end up signing Gallen, maybe he jumped the gun a little bit. What do you guys think, though? Would you rather have Suarez? Would you rather have Gallen? Do you think if you're the Cubs, you instead of going after a starter, you go after relievers? Do you want Alex Bregman? I think we all want Kyle Schwarber, but I just don't know they're going to do that. But all of that on the table here on the channel. So like, subscribe, thumbs up, and hit the QR code right there. That's Mick Nation, AveD. That is our Web3 home. You guys know that. Swag, weekly cash prizes, all of that stuff there for you to check out and be part of here on the channel. So like, subscribe, thumbs up, hit the bell, be part of it. And thank you for being here. Go Cubs, everybody. I will also want to throw a shout out to visit Sevierville in the Smoky Mountains. The Chicagoland area is one of the most influential visitors to the mountains. And you guys want to continue that. Winterfest goes through February. You're talking about the Christmas lights. You're talking about all the fun stuff there. Gatlinburg, Pigeon Forge, and obviously Sevierville.
When you head to the Smoky Mountains, it's only natural to visit Sevierville.
Even we had to check it out.
And we've been here our whole lives.
Experience the adventure of a lifetime.
I'm king of the world!
Even you can get a bird's eye view of the Smokies.
You're going down, Billy. Whoa.
Your Smokies start here.